Hi there, you're watching Nightline with me, Natasha Busst. The top stories. Zara Kyrina's death, 5 minors to be charged with bullying. And Israel launches massive attacks on Gaza City before seizure plan. Good morning. We begin the bulletin with this story. 5 teenagers are expected to be charged on Wednesday in connection with their involvement in the bullying of the late Zara Kyrina Mahathir. Attorney General Tan Sri Muhammad Dusuki Mokhtar said the suspects, all under 18, are students at the same school as the victim, SMKA Tun Datu Mustafa Limawan in Papar, Sabah. Muhammad Dusuki said the suspects will be brought before the Kota Kinabalu Juvenile Court to face charges related to the incident. Earlier, the Attorney General's chambers, in a statement, confirmed that it had reviewed the police investigation papers and decided to charge several individuals involved in the bullying case based on the available evidence. It said the decision to press charges for the bullying offense will not affect ongoing police investigations or the coroner's inquest into the 13-year-old student's death. Zara Kyrina was found unconscious at her school dormitory on July 16th. She died at Queen Elizabeth I Hospital the following day. Elsewhere in Sabah, the Kota Kinabalu Coroner's Court has scheduled a 19-day inquest into the death of Zara Kyrina to run from September 3rd to 30th. The dates were set on Monday during case mentioned by Sabah State Court Director Judge Azrina Aziz, who is presiding as coroner. The conducting officer, Deputy Public Prosecutor Muhammad Fairuz Johari, informed the coroner that some 195 witnesses have been listed so far, but that the list may be shortened. Hamid Ismail, the lawyer representing Zara Kyrina's mother and leading the Watching Brief Councils, also applied to the coroner for the team to be directly involved in the inquest to examine witnesses. Noraida, however, was not present at the inquest mentioned. Sabah Law Society President Datuk Muhammad Nazim Wadwarin attended as an observer. According to the AG's chambers, the inquest proceedings aim to establish the cause of Zara Kyrina's death and determine whether there were any criminal elements involved. The application for the inquest was filed on Sunday under Section 339 of the Criminal Procedure Code. During a ministerial briefing in the Dewan Rakyat on Monday, Home Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail revealed that elements of bullying, negligence and sexual harassment were part of the investigation into Zara Kyrina's death. He also said police have handed over the investigation papers to the AG's chambers.
Sebab itu siasatan kita menjurus hala tujunya kepada elemen bullying. Ya. Yang sudah pun kita lengkapkan siasatan itu. Ya. Ada elemen pengabaian kerana adik ini ada membuat aduan kepada pihak sekolah. Ada. Kita siasat di bawah elemen pengabaian. Ada elemen gangguan seksual. Kita siasat juga. Demikian banyak terpulang peguam negara untuk menetapkan hala tuju sama ada tuduhan itu dapat dibuat atau tidak.
On the inquest process, Saifuddin described it as the best platform to uncover the truth while also bringing the perpetrators to justice. He also criticized certain parties for spreading false accusations against the authorities in relation to the investigation.
Tuduhan mengatakan bahawa kes ini cuba ditutup, cuba dimanipulasi adalah tuduhan yang sangat berat. Tidak mencerminkan realiti tindakan pihak berkuasa daripada awal hingga kini. Siasatan ini sampailah membawa kepada diary adik Zara diserahkan oleh guru kepada polis. Catatan 51 halaman yang memberikan luahan hati adik Zara pada momen-momen apakah masalah yang sedang dia hadapi. Keterangan oleh rakan-rakan yang tinggal satu asrama dengan dia. Ya. Apakah yang berlaku pada tarikh-tarikh 14 dan 15 hari bulan itu semua polis lengkapkan dalam siasatan. Dan polis kemudian
In its ministerial statement, Saifuddin also stated that Zahra Karina's mother, Nur Aida Lamat, twice declined a post-mortem examination as she wanted her daughter to be buried without delay.
Pada jam 3.30 petang, pegawai penyiasat polis Bukit Aman yang mengendalikan kes ini pada awalnya, sekarang tim Bukit Aman ambil, ini pegawai penyiasat yang awal sampai di hospital. Doktor yang merawat mengesahkan punca kematian. Doktor sahkan cause of death dan memaklumkan bahawa keputusan untuk menjalankan bedah siasat adalah urusan polis. Dan pegawai penyiasat kemudiannya berjumpa dengan ibu mangsa dan memaklumkan tentang keperluan untuk melakukan proses itu. Ibu mangsa ketika itu menyatakan dia nak menyegerakan pengebumian.
Saifuddin added that around 5 p.m., 2 attending doctors advised the victim's mother to allow a post-mortem to be conducted. The mother, however, remained firm in her decision.
Dan ibu kemudiannya mengisi dan menandatangani surat akuan enggan bedah siasat mayat atas kemahuan sendiri disaksikan oleh kakak ipar kepada ibu itu.
Despite this, he acknowledged that there was non-compliance with investigation procedures when the police did not pursue the post-mortem, and a disciplinary investigation is currently being conducted by the Integrity and Standard Compliance Department at Bukit Aman. Now, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has condemned those who exploit issues involving victims of bullying, such as Zahra Karina's death, to manipulate public opinion. He stressed that using social media to spread false information is completely unacceptable.
Orang itu dah terkorban. Kemudian kita jadikan ini sebagai satu senjata politik untuk menikam orang lain. Kalau benar tak apa. Mana boleh kita mainkan seolah kematian orang itu dan menipu dan menghasut begitu rupa. Tapi demikianlah keadaannya dan sebab itu kita harus ada kewarasan.
Speaking at the Prime Minister's Department Monthly Assembly in Putrajaya on Monday, Anwar said it is particularly concerning when false claims on social media can sway public opinion. He pointed out how someone claiming to be a pathologist had spread false information about the Zahra Karina case, causing unnecessary public anxiety. Last Saturday, Communications Minister Datuk Fahmi Fazil confirmed that the individual who claimed to be involved in the autopsy of the teenager was not a qualified pathologist as alleged. He said the information circulated by this person was also unfounded. In Johor, a mother expressed sadness after her 10-year-old son, Izul Islam Azwan Isaidi, who is also battling nasal cancer, was allegedly bullied in 2 separate incidents, suffering serious health problems, including a concussion and memory loss. 39-year-old Siti Suhana Misdi claimed that her child was attacked by an 11-year-old pupil at a religious school in Taman University on February 21st. Izul is said to have been kicked, punched and hit on the head, resulting in a concussion. The second incident allegedly occurred on August 7th at a primary school in Skudai, where the boy was again beaten by a classmate, requiring hospital treatment. As a result, Izul has experienced difficulty concentrating and memory lapses even with simple tasks.
Dia pergi dapur tu, ambil, tapi dia akan datang balik kat saya. Mama suruh apa tadi dia tu? Lepas tu kadang-kadang nanti dia akan tanya balik. Saya macam tak ingat tadi apa jadi, dia kata. Macam mana saya nak tahu balik? Nanti kadang-kadang dia duduk seorang-seorang, dia nangis, dia saya tak tahu dia fikir apa, tapi pada dia macam satu benda yang tak kena dengan dia.
Siti Suhana added that 2 police reports have been lodged at the Skudai and Larkin police stations, and a lawyer has been appointed to manage the case.
Saya dengan suami nak keadilan lah. Sebab kes ni dah macam ni, saya nak pihak sekolah pun sama-sama ambil tanggungjawab lah.
Meanwhile, Johor Police Chief Commissioner Abrahaman Arsad said police are awaiting a full medical report before concluding investigations into the case. He stressed that investigations were ongoing and followed strict police protocols. He also explained that cases involving minors fall under the Child Act, which provides special procedures and protections. Commenting on the case, Education Minister Fadlina Siddique called for the investigation to be expedited so that appropriate action can be taken. In a Facebook post on Monday, she said the matter must be handled fairly and transparently in accordance with existing guidelines. She also emphasized the seriousness of the situation and that there will be no compromise on bullying in any educational institution under her ministry. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim has called on the government to implement a comprehensive anti-bullying campaign beginning at the primary school level to address the issue. The king stressed that a culture of bullying risks producing a generation devoid of respect and compassion for others. In a social media post on Monday, Sultan Ibrahim called for children to be guided to understand the values of mutual respect and discipline. His Majesty added that the recent amendments to the Penal Code and the Criminal Procedure Code to address bullying demonstrated the government's firm commitment in tackling the issue. Sultan Ibrahim also emphasized the need for a cross-ministerial and interagency approach to ensure that bullying is addressed comprehensively. Earlier, His Majesty granted an audience to Communications Minister Datuk Fahmi Fazil at Istana Negara. During the meeting, Fahmi outlined the ministry's commitment and ongoing measures to combat bullying, as well as preparations for the upcoming National Day celebrations. Meanwhile, the Education Ministry says it will heed the call made by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim to implement a comprehensive anti-bullying campaign in all institutions under its purview. In a statement on Monday, the ministry said the campaign, starting at the primary school level, will focus on fostering awareness and cultivating mutual respect among students. The campaign, to be carried in collaboration with other ministries, aims to instill core values such as respect, discipline, and compassion. The ministry will also be developing a 2027 school curriculum to prioritize character education with an emphasis on nurturing values to produce individuals who are courteous, ethical, and possess integrity. The Prime Minister on Monday held a meeting with Barisan Nasional BN Chairman Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi and Gabungan Rakyat Sabah GRS Chairman Datuk Sri Hajiji Noor. Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim said the meeting was held in a harmonious atmosphere and in the spirit of unity. In a social media post, Anwar stated that this meeting also reflects political maturity and a firm commitment to strengthening cooperation for the sake of national stability, particularly in the context of relations between the federal government and Sabah government. He also emphasized that close cooperation between state and federal leaders is essential to ensure that the people's aspirations are fulfilled comprehensively and inclusively. The Pakatan Harapan chairman added that political stability is a crucial foundation for development agendas and the well-being of the people. No approval for rare earth element or REE mining in permanent forest reserve areas will be granted until the climate change bill is passed. Acting Natural Resources and Environmental Sustainability Minister Datuk Sri Johari Abdul Ghani said the draft bill is currently under review by the AG's chambers. According to Johari, the bill is expected to be tabled in Parliament after the presentation of the 2026 budget in October. He added that the Forest Research Institute of Malaysia is conducting a study to assess the feasibility of conducting REE mining activities in permanent forest reserve areas.
Jadi di sini sedang satu analisis sedang dibuat untuk melihat lebihan air yang kita keluarkan daripada pelumbungan ini. Contoh, kerana setiap 1 metrik tan REE, 5 metrik tan of ammonia sulfate akan diinjek dalam proses itu. Jadi selepas keluar kek REE ini untuk diproses ke China, pasal kita tidak ada tempat diproses.
Johari explained that the study involves a mining proof of concept on a 109-hectare site in Kenuring, Perak. The experiment also involves directing leaching solutions into land designated for oil palm, rubber, and fish farming to monitor its impact. Local institutions continued to support Bursa Malaysia last week. According to MBSB research, domestic institutional investors extended their net buying for the third straight week, accumulating over 760 million ringgit worth of shares. Foreign investors, however, continued to dispose of local equities for the 6th straight week, recording a net outflow of over 566 million ringgit for the week ended August 15th. Despite this, the figure was 50% lower compared to the net sell-off of over 1.1 billion ringgit in the previous week, indicating easing selling pressure. Sectors that attracted net foreign inflows included plantations, property and financial services, while local retail investors turned net sellers last week. The construction and operation of data centers are expected to serve as a key catalyst in reviving foreign direct investment, or FDI, inflows into Malaysia in the second half of 2025. Global Asia Consulting noted encouraging signs of recovery during the period, particularly supported by recent announcements of large-scale investments from international companies. The consultancy firm added that the recent cuts in the overnight policy rate, or OPR, and the adjustment to the statutory reserve requirement have helped stimulate the economy and strengthen investor confidence. It noted that these measures also send a clear signal of Malaysia's commitment to fostering a more conducive investment environment. FDI inflows dropped to 1.6 billion ringgit in the second quarter of 2025 from 15.6 billion ringgit in the previous quarter. However, inflows could recover in the second half if new investments in sectors like data centers and digital technology materialize. Singapore's non-oil domestic exports fell 4.6% in July from a year earlier, with shipments to the U.S. plunging more than 40%. Authorities said the sharp 42.7% drop in exports to the U.S. was mainly driven by a 93.5% collapse in pharmaceutical shipments, alongside a 45.8% fall in specialized machinery and a 48.8% decline in food preparations. Exports to China and Indonesia also contracted, while shipments to the EU, Taiwan, South Korea and Hong Kong recorded growth. Last week, Singapore raised its 2025 economic growth forecast, but cautioned that the outlook for the rest of the year remains uncertain, partly due to U.S. tariffs and global trade risks. Chinese national jailed for attacking immigration officer. This and more after this breather.
Unlocking the future of business.
From industry evolutions to policy changes, we go beyond the headline.
Deep insights, sharp analysis.
Understanding the forces driving tomorrow's economy.
Key financial insights that drive decisions.
This is Money Matters, every Saturday, 5 p.m.
Only on TV3 and stream now on Tonton.
Hai kawan-kawan, kawan-kawan pernah tak rasa tak selesa bila ada orang cuba sentuh badan kita? Kawan-kawan ingat tahu badan kita ni milik kita. Kalau ada orang sentuh tanpa izin, korang cakap tidak. Lepas tu korang bagi tahu ibu bapa ataupun cikgu ataupun kakak dan abang, okey?
Betul tu. Ingat, tak ada orang yang boleh buat kita rasa takut dan tak selesa. Kita berhak rasa selamat dan dilindungi.
Hidup bermasyarakat kena ada kesedaran sivik yang tinggi. Dahulukan sesiapa yang perlu diberi keutamaan.
Perut buncit, apa punca dan kesan kepada tubuh badan.
Semarakkan Hari Kebangsaan dengan pelbagai hidangan nasi. Kegemaran rakyat Malaysia.
Seni batik dah banyak berevolusi. Nampak lebih cantik dan elegan.
Mana lebih baik, beli rumah atau bina rumah sendiri? Kupasannya dalam Soal Wang.
MHI, Isnin hingga Jumaat jam 10 pagi.
Eksklusif di TV3 dan Tonton.
Rumah kedai jadi sarang parti.
Saya lupa tak ada. Tangkap ada.
Memang lupa dia.
Saya naik juga. Keluar.
Tak, sembunyi tak.
Penipuan deepfake ancam keselamatan pengguna.
Tada! Inilah dia cinta hati saya, sambal menyengat by Zafran. Ini bukan reseller, bukan dropship, bukan semua bukan.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Welcome back. In Kelantan, the sons of a doctor were charged at the Kota Baru Magistrates Court for allegedly trafficking drugs. However, no plea was recorded as the case falls under the High Court's jurisdiction. The siblings, 23-year-old Ahmad Amar Rushdi Muhammad Hanapi and 34-year-old Muhammad Hibatul Alimi, were charged with trafficking 35.58 kilograms of ganja at a house near Kampung But Ketere at about 4:30 p.m. on August 5th. The court fixed October 16th and 27th for mention. In separate proceedings at the Sessions Court, Muhammad Hibatul Alimi was slapped with another charge for unlawful possession of a firearm and live ammunition at the same location, date and time. The court denied bail for the accused and set September 22nd for case mention. A Chinese national was sentenced to 1 month in jail and fined 2,000 ringgit by the Sepang Magistrates Court on Monday for injuring an immigration officer. Magistrate Khairatul Anisa Jelani handed out the sentence on 31-year-old Fang Fu Yuan after she pleaded guilty to the charge. According to the charge sheet, Fang had intentionally caused hurt to Nurdiana Atira Shafinas Abdul Rahman while she was on duty at the immigration counter in the departure hall of the Kuala Lumpur International Airport Terminal 1 on August 13th. Fang became aggressive after the victim instructed her and her 3 family members to step aside when no record of their entry was found. Fang then pulled the victim's headscarf and pushed her head against a pillar. The attack left the victim with head trauma and injuries to the left side of her face. In Malacca, a Singaporean man was sentenced to 72 years in prison along with 24 strokes of the cane for murdering his wife and stepson. The Malacca High Court meted out the sentence after the prosecution successfully proved the case beyond reasonable doubt. The 36-year-old accused, Sharul Nizam Zuraimi, was charged with murdering 27-year-old Nur Fazira Bidin and 11-year-old Muhammad Iman Ashraf Abdullah in 2019. The incident occurred between 6 p.m. on October 6 and 7:30 a.m. on October 7, 2019, at a house in Batu Berendam. The accused claimed the incident happened after he lost control and became angry during an argument with his wife when she refused to reveal the names of several men in her mobile phone. Judge Dato Anselm Charles Fernandez said the accused's actions were cruel and the dismembering and disposing of the victim's body parts in different locations was clearly an attempt to evade detection by the authorities. Sharul Nizam was sentenced to 36 years in prison and 12 strokes of the cane for each charge, which will run consecutively from the date of his arrest on October 11, 2019. Qantas hit with record fine over illegal layoffs. The details when Nightline returns.
Kita kan selalu tengok kebahagiaan orang lain. Sampai lupa bahagia sendiri pun ada, cuma tak disyukuri. Syirah, kalau pergi gerai, suka makan apa? Macam-macam. Nasi ayam, cendol, semua sedap. Kenapa kita ni bila dah tak ada, baru nak hargai? Sebab itu, hargailah sementara ada. Kadang-kadang kita terlupa tentang soal batas. Contohnya, elakkan kongsi minyak wangi dan juga baju dengan anak. Sayang itu mudah, tapi saya rasa setia itu yang mahal. Kenapa mahal? Nak tahu? Tengok WHI di TV3 dan stream sekarang di Tonton.
Hidup bermasyarakat kena ada kesedaran sivik yang tinggi. Dahulukan sesiapa yang perlu diberi keutamaan.
Perut buncit, apa punca dan kesan kepada tubuh badan.
Semarakkan Hari Kebangsaan dengan pelbagai hidangan nasi. Kegemaran rakyat Malaysia.
Seni batik dah banyak berevolusi. Nampak lebih cantik dan elegan.
Mana lebih baik, beli rumah atau bina rumah sendiri? Kupasannya dalam Soal Wang.
MHI, Isnin hingga Jumaat jam 10 pagi.
Eksklusif di TV3 dan Tonton.
Rumah kedai jadi sarang parti.
Saya lupa ada. Tangkap ada.
Memang lupa.
Kena you kan? Keluar.
Tak, sembunyi tak.
Penipuan deepfake ancam keselamatan pengguna.
Tada! Inilah dia cinta hati saya, sambal menyengat by Zafran. Ini bukan reseller, bukan dropship, bukan semua bukan.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Kejadian ini adalah satu kes pembunuhan yang dibuat oleh seorang suspek ke atas seorang pembantu rumah, pekerja asing semasa sedang membersihkan rumah.
Katanya suspek ditetak beberapa kali di bahagian belakang dan juga di muka.
Dia percaya bahawa ada satu bisikan yang mengarahkan dia membunuh mangsa.
We're back with news from the foreign front. The Zionist regime intensified its attacks on Gaza's largest city before executing plans to seize it, with at least 19 Palestinians killed in attacks across the Strip since dawn on Monday, including 8 seeking aid. The Zionist military launched a large-scale assault on Gaza City, targeting the neighborhoods of Daraj, Shujaya, Al-Tufa, and Zaytun. Artillery fire, booby traps, and explosive-laden robots were reportedly used to strike Palestinians and destroy what remained of their communities. The offensive comes as the Israeli military announced it has approved a plan for the next stage of the war, with Gaza City as a primary focus. Meanwhile, during the Qatari Prime Minister's visit to Egypt, a Hamas source said the group had informed the mediators of its approval of their proposal for a Gaza ceasefire deal. Earlier, Egypt reiterated its categorical rejection of the displacement of the Palestinian people and called on other countries not to participate in the heinous crime. Its foreign ministry expressed deep concern over recent reports of Israeli consultations with certain countries regarding the potential displacement of Palestinians from the Gaza Strip to their territories. The ministry said the plans form part of an unacceptable Israeli policy aimed at depopulating Palestinian land, consolidating its occupation, and undermining the Palestinian cause. Egypt also affirmed that it will not accept or participate in such displacement, considering it a historical injustice with no moral or legal justification. An Australian court on Monday fined airline giant Qantas a record $59 million for illegally sacking more than 1,800 ground workers during the COVID-19 pandemic. Federal Court Justice Michael Lee said in the judgment that the fine should serve as a real deterrent to other employers. The airline stated it would pay the penalty and acknowledged that the ruling holds it accountable for causing real harm to its employees. Australia's Transport Workers Union, meanwhile, said it welcomed the penalty, which is the largest imposed by a court for violations of industrial relations laws in the country's history. Qantas decided to sack the workers and outsource their jobs in August 2020, a period of lockdowns and border closures when no COVID-19 vaccine was widely available. Myanmar's military government announced on Monday that it will hold its general elections from December, a phased poll widely condemned as a sham intended to entrench the junta's power. The country's election commission said the first phase of the multi-party democratic general election for each parliament will begin on December 28th, with dates for the subsequent phases to be announced later. State media said some 55 parties had registered for the polls, including 9 that would compete for seats nationwide. The announcement comes after Myanmar's military administration, led by Min Aung Hlaing, last month declared the end of a state of emergency for parts of the country in preparation for elections in December and January. Sports now, football and the FA Cup. Kelantan, the Real Warriors, made a winning start to their campaign, beating Kuala Lumpur City 3-1. Meanwhile, at the Tunku Abdul Rahman Stadium, Jovan Motika continued his fine form with another brace as Negeri Sembilan crushed 10-man PDRM 5-0. The host struck early with Motika blasting home a free kick just 2 minutes in. PDRM's night went from bad to worse when Agbre Noel was sent off for a reckless challenge. Negeri Sembilan took control with Motika grabbing his second and Joseph Esso adding a third just before the break. After halftime, substitute Mio Suneyasu and Esso completed the route, handing the Jungs a commanding advantage heading into the second leg on September 12th. Still on football, the English Premier League. Manchester United lost to Arsenal in their opener on Sunday, but head coach Ruben Amorim remains optimistic, saying his rebuilt team can beat anyone in the league.
We played better. We were the better team, but in the end we will lose the game. But I'm really proud of the work that they put on the field, and that is important to move forward. I think we proved today that we can win any game in the Premier League, especially against a great team like Arsenal, and we were the better team. So I'm happy with the players.
Earlier, Ricardo Calafiori scored from an early corner to seal a 1-0 win for Arsenal after a weak challenge from goalkeeper Altay Bayender. Despite the result, United impressed with new signings Mateus Cunha and Brian Mbumo, injecting pace and creativity into the attack, threatening the Gunners throughout the match. And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look at one of Europe's highest observatories, perched 3,000 meters above Saint Véran in France, where visitors can gaze at planets, nebulae, and galaxies after a challenging climb. With that, I'm Natasha Busst. Thank you for watching and stay safe.